Hey, man. We're here today because so much has gone on in the past week that there's no way we cannot touch on at least some of the major ones.
Pick some, yeah. There's been quite a few major ones.
It seems like the Republican Party has stepped into a time loop or something.
Oh, out of control? Yeah.
Because they're back in the 1960s, and some of the things they're doing are completely insane.
Not to forget that they're blatantly racist too.
Well, like I said, they're going,
especially in Tennessee. I don't know what else to say that.
They're going back to the 1960s, and that's that's a problem for everyone else. So I'll tell you what, why don't we just jump right into it right after this. Okay, why don't we hit the first thing that's on everyone's mind, and that is Texas and Washington.
Yeah.
One state says, "Hey, FDA, we don't like the way you approved the abortion pill decades ago, so we're taking away your approval, and it can no longer be made, manufactured, or sold until we say so." Washington says, "Hey, FDA, we love your approval. We're going to make it so they can't take them off the shelves no matter what." So now we've got Texas on the dark side.
Yep. Did that on purpose.
Washington on the Jedi side, and now they have to go see the Master and see what they say.
Mm-hmm.
And
Jedi Master, maybe the Sith.
And my take on this is they're not going to the Supreme Court. I don't think the Supreme Court can take a stand and not look like shit to somebody.
I think their audience of pro-lifers is greatly diminished. They're getting a taste of their own medicine, and many of them have pulled it back. So I don't know if they have as much support as they once had.
But there's no way
73% of the country is not for total.
There's no way that they can sit back and go, you know what, we're going to let the states fight it out.
They can't, not this time. They have to make a decision because of this one is in 100% opposite of the other. They have to decide now. They've been put on the spot, so we get to really find out what kind of Supreme Court we have.
By the time it gets, because don't they have to go through steps now before they hit the Supreme Court, or is it straight to the Supreme Court?
From what I'm understanding, and this is still kind of fresh, I think it's going straight to the Supreme Court because two courts have made this decision, not just a state and a state, the 5th district and whatever Washington is in. So it's that has to go to the higher court to make that decision because they conflict with each other, and that's their job. That's what the Supreme Court does.
Right.
They resolve judiciary conflicts or matters of law or whatever.
Right. So my question is, are they trying to, couldn't they turn around and the Supreme Court say, hey, listen, you can't make laws for the whole country. You can only make laws for your own state. So if you don't want to sell it in your
Both.
state, huh?
They could nullify both. They could say that both states are wrong, start again. Figure something else out. Or I have a feeling they are gonna pick. They're gonna say Washington, yes, because of this, or Texas, you're right because of this, or with these stipulations.
You don't think you don't think they turn around and say, Texas, you can ban it all you want in Texas. The rest of the country is on their own. Washington, you can make them not take it off the shelves, but in Washington alone.
Right, you don't understand it. They don't represent they represent the country.
But those are state courts.
These are not state courts. No, they're not. These are appeals courts, appellate courts.
Well, they haven't reached the appellate court yet. They just made their decisions.
I should have researched this a little more, so maybe I don't want to make myself look too not informed, but I'm pretty sure that this is not Texas. This is not represented by Texas. This is the Fifth Court, from what I'm hearing. Now, I thought that was one thing, but maybe I'm mistaken. But still, and the same with Washington. It's not just the state; it's bigger than the state. I don't know what that is. I'd have to look. I don't have it in front of me.
Well, if it does get to the Supreme Court, are we going to have it get there before Judge Thomas is impeached or after?
It's a good question.
Yes, and that was an amazing segue.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I would like to, because from what I understand, there could be potential hot water for him on this. He may not get out of this unscathed. They may have to do something, because there is clear language on gifts and how.
I think that, and I hate to say this, I think the only remedy that they have for this is to sanction him, and that's about it. I mean, they can't.
No, there's one more thing they can do is haul him before Congress, put him under oath, and tell him to explain what these were for, just so he can give a clear answer to what these things were. He doesn't have to whatever. That's what I've been hearing he needs to do and what should and can happen.
But I've been watching a lot of congressional hearings, and it is very easy to sit there and say, I plead the fifth.
It's up to the House. Do you think they're going to do it in the House? Haul him in front of them for an inquiry? No.
Yeah.
No. But if it was a Democratic-run House, they could. And I don't think he can take the fifth on that. I don't think that's possible for a Supreme Court judge, or any judge for that matter. If you're hauled in front of them for this type of thing, you're compelled to tell the truth, because this is, for the people. It's the will of the people.
Well, look at the January 6th hearings, where how many people pled the fifth during that?
Yes, but their roles were different in government. They weren't Supreme Court judges. They weren't judges. They follow certain things a little bit differently than the rest.
Even the president pled the fifth.
Right, but they weren't talking about his gifts. He wasn't hauled in front to say, hey, what the Saudis give you. No one ever asked that. He had to fill out a declaration for that. But for the president, it's anything. Anything from anyone has to be, documented. Where it came from, how much its value was.
Correct.
Things like that. And that goes the same for, judges and things like that, too. That goes the same for, Congress people. But what they hold in front of Congress, and they took the fifth for it, they were apples and oranges on what type of question they were asking them. That wasn't the line of questioning that was even appropriate for that situation. So they would have no reason to ask. So Thomas, that's another matter. They would have to ask him. He would be compelled to answer. And then in this situation too, now I bring a point. He can take the fifth, but then they can surmise.
Yeah,
they can make a summation of what they think. So yeah, I suppose he could technically, He does not have to whatever, but it wouldn't make any sense. He'd be better off to just say, especially if it was nothing that was criminal or otherwise. That would be the only reason that he wouldn't be compelled to tell the truth of that. Just a trip, man. We whatever, blah 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 blah. We swam and ate and joked and talked about all kinds of stupid, nasty, horrible things that had nothing to do with politics. But
so what you're saying is that the Supreme Court judge isn't afforded the luxury of protection under the Constitution when it comes to that?
Not when it comes to gifts, because that's written in that they must be divulged. It's public record. Any gifts he receives, public record for the people. It's not his, really. It's ours.
Right.
All those gifts that the president gets, it goes into a box somewhere, and it's, it belongs to us. It belongs to everybody. And that's the same for the gifts that anyone else receives as well, as far as I know, monetary or otherwise. I mean, they gave Ginny Thomas's charitable foundation that she was part of $500,000, of which $120,000 was a salary for Ginny Thomas.
Right, correct.
So yeah,
but Ginny Thomas doesn't have to report that to anybody but the IRS.
No, but
she's not a judge.
No, but there are conflicts there. There's conflicts because of who she's married to. What she does put into question some of his decisions. Sometimes he should have probably recused himself because of some of the activities his wife is into, because that could be a conflict of interest. And he's never done that, and he should have. So question some of his decisions because they are in conflict. Well, they are parallel. If she's against this, well, so isn't he. Yeah. That's kind of a different thing, though. But we're talking about gifts, things that are supposed to be divulged. I guess at minimum he needs to fill out the fucking paperwork.
No, correct.
So
correct.
And it's not like he's going to be, thrown in jail, or it's not like these are misdemeanors or felonies or anything like that. Not as far as I know. They may come with token penalties.
Right, like I said,
yeah,
it's like
so
sanctions.
Yeah, it might not be much of anything. So we're not talking like it's going to hurt him in a way at all.
Well, a lot of Democrats are screaming for his impeachment.
Mm-hmm. Some are calling for his resignation.
But I don't see that happening. I mean, and the funny part about it to me is
right, because the Republican-controlled House won't.
This is the guy who went through a rigorous review before they appointed him to that position. Because of the whole pubic hair on the Coke can scandal. You remember that?
Yeah.
And I believe it was, who was it? Condoleezza Rice did that too?
Yeah. So yeah. I'm seeing some of that in my head now. I'm seeing some clips of it.
Yeah, and we knew about this long before he was appointed. And
right,
now we find out he's doing even more shit now. Why would we be surprised? We knew the kind of person he was when we put him in.
Right, but we're wondering now if some of those can be grounds for impeachment because he committed perjury during his hearing. And the whole lot of them, actually. I mean, we need that ability that you can't just say anything you want to get through the process and then say, well, fuck the process, I'm going to do what I want. You can't do that to just get yourself in the position. There needs to be legal recourse there, and something needs to happen to the whole lot of them, actually, starting from recent all the way back. Just from the words that they say on camera, is clear evidence of that.
Well, we just have to see what happens with that. I think he should be thrown out. He should be. I think at least, and you're going to think this is crazy, but I think at least he should be disbarred.
Sure, why not? That would probably be a similar thing, you know.
I don't understand why the president doesn't have the right to recommend his impeachment. Not to do it, but to say, hey, this is what you seriously need to look at.
Well, that's why they need an ethics, and they don't have any ethics committees or people or anything like that at all.
Yeah, didn't Trump?
No department or anything. They never had
right.
it. The Supreme Court's the only one that doesn't.
Oh, they never had one?
No, then that's a load of crap that needs to be changed. It totally needs to be changed. I guess he wants to be on the mic.
I think I really think he needs to be removed. I think anyone who we can prove lied during their hearings, their admission hearings, they should be removed.
And it's because of this we need to make it so that it's not a lifetime appointment. You know, they've proven time after time again they can't be trusted with that kind of power.
Well, they tried to say it's a lifetime appointment so that they can't be corrupted, but look what's happening.
They were corrupted before they even got in. You know, they went in corrupted. You know, and that's bullshit. You know, it's a crock.
Well, this all started because Texas and Washington can't keep their hands off the women.
Pretty much.
So,
which I don't know against abortions, but I figure they'd be into that. You know?
Well, with that, there's more news about Texas that makes me want to go, hey, is Texas turning into the new Florida?
Yeah. He's looking into it. I don't think somebody has to basically ask him for it formally.
No. Here's what happened.
Well, I don't know. That's what I heard about 20 minutes before we started.
He basically sent out a letter saying that Parole and Pardons Board usually makes the recommendation and approves all that stuff, but he's making the recommendation to them this time. He's making the recommendation to them this time and said that he is going to, basically rubber stamp what they decide, because they're going to rubber stamp what he recommends.
That's not cool, man. That's not good at all.
I mean, he shot a guy.
He went there to do that.
Shot a guy dead, left the scene, and then called the police and said, "Oh yeah, I killed somebody." And they found him guilty. And the governor says, "Yeah, they don't understand all the circumstances. The jury doesn't get all the things behind it. I'm going to let him go."
Yeah.
Which means they don't understand that the victim was black and the perpetrator was white. Welcome to the 1950s.
50s. Worse than that. Yeah. Something's got to give, my friend. Something's got to give.
Well, like I said, Republicans have lost their damn mind.
The only thing I can hope for is that enough Republicans, the ones that say, "I'll die before I vote for a Democrat," well, then put up an independent. Put up an independent, go for them. Or, you know what, either don't even vote at all, or better yet, send a clear message and vote for a Democrat. So that way, not even gerrymandering can save it. And that'll send a clear message. And then maybe you'll get some freaking Republicans that you'll really want to vote for. It's not that I'm against Republicans, man. There's plenty I can have a conversation with. But that was yesterday's Republican. Today's Republican is a crazy person. They're QAnon. They're dead babies and pedophile Democrats. Are you fucking kidding me? How can you? There's no line there. There's no conversation there anymore. It's gone.
There was an interview on 60 Minutes with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, I saw some of it.
In which she said that all Democrats are pedophiles because they advocate for mutilation of genitals of children. And so that makes that makes them sexualize children, and sexualizing children is what a pedophile does. So therefore, i.e., they're all pedophile. Her logic is completely insane.
It's astounding. Yeah, I know. I mean, and that's a serious problem, though. I mean, we may sit here and laugh and joke about it at her expense, but think about it. Think about all these people that are on the edge and that are taking everything she says. They're hanging on that every word. Marjorie says that. It's got to be true. You know, I mean, we have a huge chunk of population that, you know, I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't even finish high school until I finally got my diploma when I was 28, you know? So there's a lot of people out there that give up, you know? They stop their education when they leave and they forget things and they never learn anything else again. And then when these kinds of things come up, you know, they don't understand politics at all, you know? And that's bad because then they start making decisions like they are now. That's a problem for everybody.
Well, you're right. You're absolutely right. I think the problem is they don't listen to themselves. And I don't mean they don't listen to each other. I mean, they don't listen to what they say themselves.
I agree with you on that. Yep, I totally agree.
In one interview, Marjorie Taylor Greene contradicted herself 3 times. In another interview, Lauren Boebert contradicted herself and then made excuses for her religion. She doesn't even hear what she's saying.
I know.
She's like, well, you know, we are supposed to follow, but sometimes we don't have to because we're not perfect, and you know, it's okay. And no, you can't pick and choose shit.
They have a easy out. They can just pray for forgiveness for all their sins, and it's good. You know, I have a feeling it don't quite. If you read the fine print, I don't think it quite works that way. Yeah. I think you're going to be in for a surprise when you know, knock on heaven's gate and they don't answer. Yeah.
Well, Matt, that brings just another wonderful episode to a conclusion. All done and dusted and over with. So I want to know who, and you don't do it anonymously if you want to, but I want to know who thinks Texas banning an abortion pill, not the procedure itself, but an abortion pill countrywide, nationwide, should be acceptable.
Under any circumstance, you know.
But yeah.
See, some people don't know. They don't know that. They don't know what else is going on in someone else's life. You don't know everything.
Correct. I agree.
And that's the problem with absolute rules: is you swallow in the innocent that are, you know, you're gonna lose lives that way. You know, a lot of lives. Talk about a bad infant mortality rate. It's going to drop even faster than it is now.
Do you realize that Lauren Boebert, who preaches so heavily about the Bible and, you know, God is, you know, God should be running the government, not the government running religion. Yeah. She's going to be a grandmother at 36 years old.
I know.
36.
Isn't he 17?
I believe she is. He's 18, or she claimed he was 18.
Okay. I think she's probably stretching it too, but someone will throw it out there.
And Marjorie Taylor Greene, during the indictment or the arrest of Donald Trump, in an interview, said that he was arrested. Like there were some famous people that were arrested.
I thought that was Greene who said that.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Right.
Marjorie Taylor Greene during the arrest.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That he's in the company of Jesus. Jesus.
I know.
We're saying he's being persecuted. The dude committed crimes. It's not like we just picked him up and said, "Hey, let's do something on it."
You got a broken tail light because we hit it.
Yeah. Come on. The guy's been committing crimes since the 80s.
Do you know how airtight this case has to be? 34
34
They better make
felony
this public.
counts.
I hope they make this shit public.
34 felony counts.
Yeah.
And she says, well, they're picking on him like Jesus, like they picked on Jesus. No. But you can show me the day that Donald Trump can walk on water, then I'll say he's being persecuted like Jesus.
Right. So think about stones and glass houses.
Well, my friend, that's it for another day.
Good, man.
See you on the flip side.